Chad Burt, my hero in khaki pants. The only reason I can make it through an entire season of sports. From all the sports I've played, I've gotten many injuries throughout my years. From concussions to sprained ankles, I've learned a lot. During volleyball season, I kind of learned how to tape my own ankle because the trainers were always too busy with the football players. I learned what it felt like to sprain my ankle, so that way the next time I did it, I knew what tapes I needed to grab, how to use them, and when to wrap it. While keeping in mind both what I needed and what I wanted, because I didn't want it too tight, but also I need some support. While wrapping may look a little complex when I show you, it can be a very useful tip, especially if you're as accident prone as I am. According to WebMD, the most common sports injury is a sprained ankle. This sprain is the stretching or tearing of the ligaments that keep your ankle bones together. This sprain can happen in many different ways, from pushing your foot in too far or pushing it out too far, and from coming back off of a high jump and landing on it the wrong way. Now, once you've determined how the injury happened, you can learn what you need to do it. You are going to want, if you're in like a high impact sport, lace and heel pads. I don't have those today because you don't really necessarily need them. They just keep it extra spongy as to not have any blisters. You're going to need pre-wrap. They come in many various different types of colors, but I have gray. And athletic tape, and the injured person. And while there are a variety of tapes you can use, you should know the reason for each tape and where and why you need to use them. If you were to have the adhesive pads, you would want to place them on the top of the foot where the laces go and on the heel. But today we're just going to start with a pre-wrap and use extra padding in that area. You're going to want to start at the bottom of the arch, wrapping all the way around, making sure to cover every single part of where you're going to be wrapping with the athletic tape, which is going to be about mid-shin to the arch of your foot. Now you're going to tack that off. And this pre-wrap is so you don't lose any hairs, because I don't know about the guys, but I doubt they want to lose any hair on their ankle because it's not going to feel too good when you're taking the tape off. And you can add an extra strip so the tape will stay. You want to add a power strip at the top of the foot and at the bottom to keep the pre-wrap in place. Then you start with 3 power strips around the top of the ankle. You want to start again about mid-shin towards the ankle, wrap it around and rip it 3 times, making sure to overlap each time. This way you don't create any weak spots. Next, we are going to start with the stirrups. The stirrups are named because they look a little bit like where you would keep your foot for like a horse saddle. You want to make sure that your patient keeps their foot flexed and keep the athletic tape taut as you put it on. And every time you put one on, I like to use 3, because every time you put one on, you want to put it closer and closer to the middle until it's touching. All right, now that you've done that, you can start with one of the last steps, which is the figure 8. You start, once again, at the mid of the ankle. This way it's extra supportive. You're wrapping around once, going under the foot, keeping the foot flexed the whole time, bringing it around to the top, wrapping it around once more. You want to do this 3 times, once again for extra support. And although it may not look super pretty, it's going to keep your foot from slipping. Now that you've done this, you want to double check with your patient that it is both comfortable but not too constricting. You want it to be effective and to make sure that it is tight but not so tight that they can't perform in their sport and that it's not hurting them. And although the wrapping may look a little complex, it is a useful skill to have. Once you understand the type of injury, you should get to where you know how to wrap it. Make sure you have the proper supplies and tapes. and begin to wrap, starting off with the softest and moving to the toughest and most supportive parts. While I have learned much from Chad and his fashionable choices, I think I'll just stick with learning the ropes to wrapping.